Hey guys, bringing you this fight. It's two high level individuals. We have the blue side and red side. Unfortunately, I wasn't ever able to catch the very start of the fight. On the blue side, Panda was able to pick up the other Panda, throw it in the corner, which you see here. Once it's thrown in the corner, Carrot, of course, which makes the other Panda waste AP. After that, the Panda's about to, go in it. So we'll go ahead and start and break down this video. Alright, so now the Panda's basically just working position, throwing both the Ini and the Sakura in a compromising situation. A little bit of negative resistance to kind of set up kill pressure. Unfortunately, that won't be happening anytime soon. But much like I said a while ago, 8 AP had to be wasted through the other Panda. Panda is about to do Wasta here. This will allow, a decent amount of reduction in damage. Enotroph, while great in close combat, isn't the greatest in spells. So this reduced damage by quite a bit, considering the Ini and the Sac are both separated. So as you can see, the initiative order, the Faker is going to be going after the Panda. So unfortunately, what we're going to have to do with that is the Panda is going to have to opt out for damage instead of negative resistance, which is add up to quite a bit. As you can see, already about a quarter of the HP from the Ini is already taken care of. Faker spell rebounding on the Panda Wasta. That is very key. Some people won't catch that, which would then lead into, if the Osa whipped that, Osa's going to be taking all that damage. So Faker just sets up for glyphs, just kind of setting up, trying to AP rape, MP rape. Now it's the Inu's turn. Unfortunately, can't CC. If it was able to, it would be able to do a lot of damage. As you can see, he's kind of setting up for big map control, bribery. Also use big cooldowns such as bribery and acceleration. It did kind of overextend a little bit, but I understand trying to control the map. So now we're going to see what the other Panda is going to do. Now the Panda is going to make that Inu kind of, unfortunately going up like that. So it's going to kind of capitalize on that. We won't really call it a mistake, but it is going to put the Inu in a very compromising situation. Now for the Faker is just going to go straight close combat with Ini, which does put the Ini in kill range. Now if the Panda Wasa wasn't on the Inu, that probably could have been a KO straight off the beginning. Also, the negative resistance on the Panda is very key. They're both playing without shields, so unfortunately the resistance are a little bit lower. Life transfer on the Sakura, a very nice spell, typically very good in AoE healing, but it will get the job done for getting the Ini out of that, kill range. And with the sack the Ini, now we can just focus on that. The Ini's no longer in danger.
To improve the correctness and style of your writing. Clary's
So we went for AP on that one. What we're going to set up now, we're just going to get them better into glyphs. Now we're just going for straight damage. As I said, if the sack didn't sack the Ini, then that could have potentially been very bad. So that's why certain cooldowns are very important to use at certain times. Now it is the Inu's turn. A lot of thinking to do on this end. As I said, put the Inu in a pretty compromising situation, so red side's definitely trying to take advantage of that. With pull out was a very big, it does save the sack. Sacks are at half HP. Does reduce a lot of damage. Osa ain't able to get to him, but able to do a little bit of damage. Nothing too grand, but mainly setting up for, you know, buffs for the future turns. Now the Ini does have an interesting decision to make here. It will be close combating ahead of time, just because the Panda isn't really in any type of danger. So I know it's hitting its own character, but they're trying to press that particular angle of, you know, putting the Inuf in a bad situation. And it was mainly due to the Inuf overextending. Sack's really not able to do much. Just going to mainly buff and kind of go from there. Now with the Osa only has 4 MP. Now it has a decision to hit its own character. It probably won't due to the sack. So it's going to kind of opt out to just do damage. Unfortunately, if it close combat, would hit the Ini, which would be bad overall. Did do the carrot, kind of block that line of sight. Now the Panda is will be going in to try to save the Inuf, get him out of a bad situation. Throw him across. Probably going to be setting up with a barrel afterwards. That way the other Panda can't really mess with him. And then, as you can see here, putting the Inuf in a bad situation as far as, unfortunately, if the other Panda doesn't do anything, Inuf's not going to be able to have a turn. So now what we're going to do here, we're basically going to be setting up the Inuf on the other side of the map. As it does, it's going to be setting up a kill pressure on their sack, which is a very key component into their whole setup. Negative resistance is pretty big. Probably could have went for more damage, but the Faker is going to kind of negate any type of negative resistance it does have. As you see, big cooldown there, immunity, wanting to reduce any type of damage coming in. Much like pull out, Faker's not able to do anything, so just kind of opts out to do more of a shield based turn. Ghostly, if it's able to get any type of Ghostly, it'll be able to do a decent amount of damage, getting a kill pressure. Unfortunately here, it took all 4 Ghostlies just to hit, which is very sad to see. That could have been a lot of damage. So as you see for the Panda, much like I was explaining last time, going to get all those characters out of that corner. If it does not, a lot of those characters ain't going to have a turn. Panda positioning is very important in 7v7. And since the Panda is holding another entity while stabilized, the other Panda can't mess with it, which is very key. But what now is doing is trying to set up kill pressure on the other Panda. Now, something that you notice here, the Faker opted out to do shields. Did set up on the bag. Summons are able to go over that 50% cap. You're going to see that here in a few extra turns. And you're going to see that that bag's able to tank quite a bit now. Just to fake a doppel. Sack has very limited AP and MP due to those glyphs. Still in a pretty bad spot. Half HP. It does do carrot to try to block that line of sight. And you're going for a little bit of healing. Nothing too grand.
You can create your own website by saying, "This is what I want." With Wix, you can.
Goes to kill the carrot. Do a little bit of damage. Bribe, a very big cooldown, is going to set that tempo up. Now the line of sight's blocked. Undef will be in a very good position, as you see, pumping out that damage. Fortunately, now the OSA can heal. Goes for the buffs. Able to kill the Wasta, which is a very good summon to kill. Keep trying to keep up that panda as much as possible, especially with it being bribed. So, fun fact with what you just saw here, with the panda having the any up, whenever it does that big alteration word, it doesn't affect any. Still able to heal and able to do that massive AoE heal. It's only whenever the panda has the any picked up. Any's trying to get the sack prevented, trying to get in a better position, but now the any is in a pretty bad spot. Mainly due to any type of pulling effects. Now here, the sack is going to be grabbing the OSA. I probably would opt out to be grabbing the any instead, but mainly due to the OSA being next, unfortunately, it's able to just run away. But with that play, very big cooldown just did there. The Gob cooldown. So now it's not able to get out of those lock situations. But now the OSA and the any are in a very bad situation as far as getting, pulled back into those glyphs, back into the enemy team. It's typically what you don't want to see whenever we're dealing with stuff like that. As you saw, Whip did no damage to the bag, mainly due to the Faker over resisting the bag due to the summons having more resistance. First, Stain being a crit, obviously getting rid of that Toad, which is a very big play. Does a little bit of damage, mainly, and then blocks that line of sight, which is very key as far as making your individuals overextend to go save them. So much like I was saying with the any and the OSA being in a bad situation, this is where we're going to be seeing the panda kind of exploit that. As you see, he's going to be grabbing the OSA, bringing that back in, which now the Fake is forced to teleport due to the OSA being one of the key ones you need to protect. Release definitely does help as far as trying to get him away from that close combat, and basically just shielding up, reduce, since the blue side is mainly earth damage. That earth armor is going to be very clutch, and obviously glowing armor for the off hits with the Any and Osa. So now the Undef, instead of going for any type of damage, definitely greed ahead of time. First crit on the Faker, which is very big since greed does increase that shield, and greed does increase the heals on the Any. So that was two very big bewitchments there. The range reduction on the sack is very key. It does allow cooldowns such as Corporation and Transposition to not be as good in certain key times. But it doesn't seem like much has been able to be done with the bribe on the other panda. Now the panda's going to be opting out and just go full resistance on that. That is going to be a bad mistake, especially how there's initiatives going. As you can see, the Faker goes right afterwards. It's very easy for the Faker to, negate anything as far as negative resistance is concerned. As you can see, Immunity, big cooldown, but definitely need to be used there. And then goes straight into damage. Does about 1500 damage. Now the Faker is in kill pressure. But the sack does go next, so the sack is going to be able to save probably the Osa and the Faker. So there's a very big sack focuses.
Save hundreds when Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask your...
So much like I said, sack went for positioning. Definitely went for the heals. Them AoE heals are very nice in those types of situations, but it's only healing one character. But now the Faker isn't in such a bad situation as it was before, especially with the Any being there. But the blue side is going in a different angle, going for their Panda, especially setting up more pressure is very important with the tempo. It is very nice to do that. So immunity's up. And first Ghostly. Range reduction on the sack, which is always very key, something you want to do. And Ghostly on the bag was very key. The bag was very tanky due to the Faker's abilities, and the whole team, there was at least 2 characters done with that. So on this one, Osa's basically just healing, setting up. This is very nice. Setting up positioning. Positioning is very key in 7v7. As you can see, the sack is now pushed ahead. This is going to allow the sack to actually do close combat, and it's going to be very nice as far as damage is concerned if he's able to get anything off with that. And he's kind of forced to do healing to kind of get the sack and the Faker kind of back up. They're kind of playing on their back foot at the moment. Panda sack definitely going for a little bit of healing on top of that. Big hits, putting the Panda in kill range now. Definitely not good. But we do have the Osa going next on the red side. Basically just going to full heal. Kind of get that Panda back in a comfortable spot as far as vitality is concerned. Toad, very key as well. And whip the Crackler. Crackler does give plus resistance. It's always good to get those off the field as soon as possible. Now the Panda is no longer bribed. Kind of able to, get everything situated. First, staying crit. Going for a little bit of resistance. Now this is where I think they make a mistake. Does throw it. Should have kept that airborne. That way the Panda could not mess with them. As you see, the other Panda is more than likely going to capitalize on that. As I said, I'm going to get the Panda back in a compromising situation. Going to try to get that Boozer buff off, which does give 25 resistance to all. So now the Panda without shields is in a very compromising situation. So now they're just going to move up. Other Panda on the other side of the map. Positioning is very key. But what they're going to be doing now is probably going to be setting up some type of kill pressure. Is continually going on the Panda. Definitely still within kill range. Fun fact about the Faker with this class spell that gives extra resistance. What that does is it allows the Pandas to have more resistance. Obviously they can't close combat, but most Pandas in 7v7 are support. So now we're going for Big damage on the panda. Not quite enough, but definitely putting the panda in a very bad spot. Continuing with the neg resistance. Alright, panda's trying to hide in the corner, trying to survive. Faker does have teleport up, which is going to be very big if they go for that KO potential. And they do. Well, no. Go! First KO of the match. Very big. It is a panda, but the Osa will be able to bring it back more at the end, so not really going to lose any type of turns. But a KO is a KO. Now, unfortunately, the Faker did have to waste a pretty big cooldown to get that. Any is kind of in the back. Not the best positioning, but Paralyzing Word, which is another big cooldown on the Inu, which is always good. And just opting out to do more damage on the Ini. Kind of set up that next KO, much how he was doing with the Panda. Very focused. Inu going for the big damage. Going to get the panda about 60%, which is not good. You never want your pandas to be going down, especially right when it's your Osa's turn.
I'm going to do my very best not to call you Madam Secretary.
Yes, please.
Okay, what do you do at the...
Unfortunately, Light does not have line of sight. Does have to use a pretty big cooldown here. But able to get the panda in an okay position as far as HP is concerned. Inu kind of is focusing, healing, Paralyzing Word. Definitely good to have on a panda. Going for heals instead of trying to go for damage. Sacrifice a pretty big cooldown, but this does put the Ini in a bad situation. Gets the sack in the corner, more of a 1v1 situation, which is not ideal. Big damage. Ini is in kill potential, around 40 to 35%. Osa is going to have to release here. Looks like Osa is going to be going for that damage after bringing back the panda, which is always key. Does not lose a turn there on the red side. Big damage coming from the Osa. Very good turn. About to throw the Inu on the Panda Wasta. Reduces close combat. This one's kind of a tricky where they would want to throw this panda. Unfortunately, he's going to throw him towards the other Inu, which does kind of defeat the purpose of the Wasta lock, but should be fine. Main goal is to isolate the Ini at this point. Negative 4 MP off that glyph is very big. MP on a panda is very key. Alright, we're going to go for trying to set up a kill on the blue side panda. Looks like he's just going to go for stain. A little bit of AP reduction. Negative 4P on his panda as well. But cooldowns are very important. Wasta has been put down on the Faker. Faker is very heavily reliant on close combat to do, good damage. So that does reduce quite a bit of tempo on the red side. The negative resistance on that other panda on the red side, on the bottom side, is kind of a big factor. Let's see what he does on the Faker. Goes for AP reduction, which is always nice. Oh, a big cooldown there. Truce. Oh, first Ghostly on crit. Very key there. Much like the other time, if you land it first time, it changes fights. Now the Innie's in a bad situation, and one of their pandas about half HP. The other panda is in a bad situation due to it being isolated. Very good play. This is going to block in the Faker. It's already used his teleport cooldown, which is very key. Still focusing that panda, going for that KO. But the plus resistance is very big since shields aren't a thing at the moment. Kind of trying to reduce any type of damage the Faker can. A little bit of damage on the Panda Wasta. Fakers are very close combat related with their weapons. Otherwise, it reduces their damage by quite a significant amount. So instead of the sack on the red side going for damage, it looks like it is opting out to try to work on positioning to get their panda in a better spot. As I said, their panda is in a compromising situation with it being isolated. Truce is still active. I think the Innie does forget that it is sacked. It's going to go for healing the panda, which is very important at the moment. That does hit the Innie, which does switch spots, which could have increased damage by quite a significant amount. Well, heals in a significant amount. With everybody being Truce mainly going to be focusing Ghostly, which is very key. Whip on the Panda Wasp will allow the Faker to be free. Dragon on sack will allow it to unbewitch. It is very key that the dragon cannot hit two people, or it will not unbewitch. So placing it directly on the sack is very key. Big cooldown spell we use there, Word of Recovery. Innie is fully healed. Negative 3 AP, that is rough to see. That panda only has 6 AP. Not able to do much. Sac does have a lot of MP. Does another big cooldown, switches spots with the Faker, and goes for that close con. Unfortunately, the second one is a crit failure. Osa does have to move up, but able to get that panda back in a reasonable area as far as HP is concerned. Other panda still about half HP. This panda only has 6 AP. Very good play throwing the Undef in the corner. This does allow the Panda Wasta to be in a very good spot. Kind of like how I said in the original, always a go-to play. Put Panda in corner, carry it, especially on this map. It does allow the other Panda to kind of waste AP. Now with the Faker being so far away, as you notice, they're going to go for more of the negative resistance instead of the damage, just because the Faker is so far away. So that negative resistance on that Panda is very big. I would like to point out what turn it is. This is a very big turn for cooldowns. It is turn 6. This does mean that the Undef, when it gets to its turn, it will have bribe available. And there we go. Bribe on the Panda is very big. Going for a lot more map control, MP raping. Very big on tempo. Gob cooldown again into big damage. Panda is back in a very bad spot. It was mainly due to that negative resistance, which is very big. Sac is very important here. As you see, the AoE healing is very nice. Sac is a very big proponent in keeping this team up on the red side. Might have overdone it just a little bit. Now the Sac is about 50%, which does make it a target. Good AP, 2 characters, always good to see. Can't move due to the possible lock, and just kind of going for that close combat. Big AP reduction. As you saw, it couldn't move. Very big, very nice positioning with the Panda. It forces the Undef to both use release and Escape cooldown, which is very big. Not much that Undef's able to really do. It does take away the truce on the Faker. Also going for those big hits. Now both Pandas are in a pretty bad spot now. Danny is in a bad position, much like I said in the beginning. Positioning is very key with specific characters. Any being so far back, unable to do that big healing that it needs to. It's kind of going for the damage instead. Looks like they're focusing the blue side any. Probably should have went for more of a heel base on that end. With the bad positioning, let's see. And go! Another KO. And it all led from bad positioning. Looks like they're going for straight damage on the blue side's any. Now the any is in a bad situation as far as in kill potential. Stabilizing is very big here. But unfortunately, that panda cannot reach the any. So going to unbewitch the sack. Kind of setting up that negative resistance. Trying to keep those as safe as possible. Now, as you notice, the fake is a little bit closer now. So the panda is going to be opting out for more damage, which is very big damage. Fake kind of going for the AP rape. Setting up glyphs. Spell rebound. Definitely should have also done plus resistance. And it's still going for that. Now this is a very big turn here. Going to save the any. Separating it is very key. Stabilizing being down allowed that to happen. If stabilizing was up on the other panda, that couldn't happen and the any would have more than likely been dead. Another big cooldown used, making the panda waste AP. Now he doesn't have enough damage to actually follow through with that, so unfortunately he's just going to protect those at this point. Now it's Faker's turn.
Keep summer going with the Nissan Rogue.
Faker can't really do much due to pull out, but a lot of setting up with shields. Always very nice to have, especially on the any. Spell rebound, very nice to have. Stat can't really do anything due to pull out. Looks like he's just going to pull, go for close combat. Not much the other stat can really do. Full heal, word of recovery, another big cooldown, but very nicely done. Setting up that carrot, kind of blocked the line of sight of the Undef. Undef is kind of in a bad position as well. As you notice, a lot of these kills are coming from bad positioning, cooldowns being used. But in this particular situation, the character is just being slightly out of reach of other characters. Since the Osa is up from the panda, unfortunately the Undef can't really interact with the Osa, which is going to allow this Osa to go into some close combat. Go! Another KO. A lot of this, as you notice, is coming from bad positioning. It is very important. And that's why pandas are very key in 7v7. Not much the red side can do at this point. Lost 2 major characters. But we'll see what they continue to do. Kind of just going for the heals. Sack's turn. Much like pull out, not much Sack can do, but it does set up a lot of nice buffs here, which does set up for future plays. Kind of going for that AoE heal from Life Transfer, which is a very nice spell. GG, boys. GG's.